Benny Safdie's The Smashing Machine is a tour de force of raw emotion and captivating acting. The film revolves around the fights in and out of the ring of the film's principal actors, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt, who bring standout performances that is sure to knock out both the mainstream audiences and art house film buffs. The Smashing Machine is a textbook example of how a biopic should be brought to life. Paying homage to the documentary also titled The Smashing Machine, which chronicles the rise of Mark Kerr and his role in bringing mixed martial arts to prominence, the film does a fantastic job of balancing the luscious beauty of 16mm film while also capturing the essence of his life and fights in cinema verite fashion, much like a documentary would. From brutal fights in the ring to the domestic and emotional battles at home, The Rock comes to life and into his own as a formidable actor. This is the first feature film by Benny Safdie since 2019's Uncut Gems, and is the first solo directorial feature directed by himself without his brother Josh. Everything the two brothers touch turns out to be cinematic gold, so The Smashing Machine broke 6 years of incredible anticipation. However, in that hiatus, Benny specifically has kept busy not only creating this film, but lending his acting talents to a variety of projects like Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, and casting himself in his and Nathan Fielder's TV show for Showtime, the wonderfully offbeat and very cringe-inducing The Curse. Benny is a rare director who really does have acting skills comparable to his directorial prowess. My first exposure to Benny's acting is from his and Josh's hypnotic thriller Good Time, and Benny's acting is incredibly and impressively diverse between these three projects that I've seen. I think this is why The Smashing Machine works as well as it does. Benny is able to bring The Rock's latent acting talent to the forefront and is able to guide him into previously unexplored territory for him. Genuinely, I was very impressed with The Rock's performance. The first few minutes of the film, you can't help but see The Rock and think, yeah, that's just definitely The Rock. But after those few minutes and you settle into the picture, you completely lose him as he immerses himself as Mark Kerr. For the next 2 hours, you are embroiled in Mark Kerr's battles and lose all sight of The Rock we know and love. The Rock deserves a lot of credit for maturing in his acting capabilities and wanting to take chances, even taking a substantial pay cut from his usual acting fee in order to see the project to fruition. Although this film marks a major step forward in his acting career, I will say that it might have been an easy foray into more serious roles for The Rock, considering that this film is about a professional wrestler who wades into the arena of mixed martial arts. The Rock himself came to prominence as a professional wrestler. It's essentially territory that he is already going to be familiar with. On the upside, and on the same note, it is familiar territory and provides The Rock with material to work with concerning his size and build. I do also like that the film serves as a sort of meta ritual for The Rock. Just as Mark Kerr transmutes himself from wrestler to mixed martial artist, so too does The Rock go from wrestling to acting, and more specifically from more conventional roles to more artistically demanding acting roles. The Smashing Machine maybe acts as closure for The Rock as he turns the page both on wrestling and on a traditional acting career, appearing primarily in large Hollywood productions that aren't demanding of his acting talent. Benny Safdie also deserves credit in calling forth The Rock. It is worthy to note that his previous feature, Uncut Gems, also starred a longtime actor, and in this specific case, a comedian, who has starred in film after film, year after year, without truly being given a daring chance at a dramatic role. Josh and Benny Safdie took the silly Adam Sandler, led him through some sort of Kino alchemy, and provided Sandler material to really sink his teeth into. And Sandler shined brighter than the most precious gemstone, delivering one of the best performances of the century thus far. After Uncut Gems and The Smashing Machine, it might seem that it is Benny, the actor, who has the talent as a director to inspire his actors to a higher degree within their profession. 2 consecutive features featuring often maligned actors, completely reimagined on screen and in the minds of millions. It will be interesting, as this is Benny's first solo directorial venture, to compare it with his brother Josh's solo directorial venture, Marty Supreme, also releasing later this year. Marty Supreme is, of course, starring Timothée Chalamet, so it won't continue this trend of revealing the statue from the marble, because Chalamet is, of course, an already great actor. In preparation for this video essay and review, I sought out the documentary upon which this film was based on, also titled The Smashing Machine. I watched the documentary after viewing the film, and I don't know if I was expecting it, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that the movie was nearly a shot-for-shot reinterpretation of the documentary. The doc served as an already prepared storyboard for crafting the visuals of the film and The Rock's performance of Mark Kerr. Watching the movie, I thought that they did a phenomenal job of capturing the late 90s and domestic life in suburban Arizona, and the documentary further proved that feeling. Since the film did not differ too much from the doc, I wanted to highlight the differences Benny brought to the film that enlivened the story, and the following will contain some spoilers, even though the film was based on true, real-life events. First difference in the film, and to me the most striking, was when Dawn, Mark Kerr's girlfriend, portrayed by Emily Blunt, is crying, taking a photo of him smiling in a photo op with his opponent that had just defeated him using an illegal move. Although he does stand up for himself and complains to the event organizers, Mark is a good sport and is the bigger man. He'll say that it's a natural reaction in a fight to use that illegal move and smile throughout the defeat. Dawn cries taking this photo, and this loss early on in the film segues into his battles with his addictions and emotional dilemmas with Dawn. In the documentary, however, it is simply a Japanese fan who takes the picture of Mark and his opponent, the victor. Benny deciding to have a crying Dawn instead was a small yet neat touch to the film, adding emotional gravitas to foreshadow her tensions with Mark Kerr. Another aspect that differed between the documentary and the film was the inclusion of the Japanese concept of kintsugi, translated as golden repair. Both the doc and the film was heavily centered around fighting being sponsored by, and the fights taking place in, Japan, because mixed martial arts was too violent for pay-per-view television and cable at the time in the 90s. Mark Kerr, in his efforts to normalize and bring mixed martial arts to the public, went where the money and prestige was, and it was the Japanese who organized grand showcases for the emerging fighting format. The concept of kintsugi refers to taking broken things and to repair it with gold, and in most cases this refers to pottery that has shattered and been restored to life, with gold filling in the cracks. It symbolizes that things, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, can find healing and end up becoming more beautiful in the process, despite being shattered into innumerable pieces. In the film, and not depicted in the documentary, Mark purchases clay pottery that has been repaired with gold in a Japanese gift shop as a gift for his girlfriend Dawn. The repaired pottery symbolizes them working through their near relationship-ending drama. And on a grander scale, just as the repaired pottery represents Mark Kerr's recovery from addiction and from his struggles with Dawn, can also attest to how The Rock is repairing a legacy of poorly received yet commercially successful movies. There was a lot of hype and wonder surrounding the release of this film, with most of the attention being focused on The Rock bringing his A-game to a more serious film that wasn't intentional blockbuster fodder. I know The Rock is an ambitious man. He has expressed on multiple occasions that he desires to run for president one day. And with this film, it is no wonder that he has his sights on an Oscar for Best Actor, a much more palpable and realistic goal for him. And like Mark Kerr in the final fighting tournament in the film, will The Rock's ambition be unrealized? I think he has a fighting chance, and I look forward to how this pans out for him. After The Smashing Machine, I will also be looking forward to the films that will follow for The Rock. I believe the next project he is working on will also be a collaboration with Benny, so the next film will ultimately attest whether The Rock can continue to develop as an actor's actor. And just as coal under pressure is turned into diamond, Benny Safdie has altered The Rock into acting gold.